by a thread. All we have is the skull of Constantine.
Yeah.
Lose that, and the
Yep.
next loss is fatal. So
Yeah. Yeah. We are hanging by the. It's been a rough on life for poor Tiberius slash Montenegros slash Khalid. Goodness. Well, maybe we shall meet our final night this night, but let's hope not. Try to keep this going.
yeah.
We are back. Oh,
Yeah, we have only the skull of our beloved Constantine.
yeah,
Should we lose that, we'll be hanging by a thread.
yeah.
Our life is in the balance now. We've been strained thin. We're here to meet a distant foreign shores.
Incredibly distant.
Yeah.
Right,
Well, let us see what happens next.
let's throw it. Hoo-yah! Forward 1.
Forward 128.
It.
A
A
long dead immortal character returns. What do they want from you? Have they survived? How have they survived death? You only recognize him if you still have a related memory. Check a skill. You don't have a skill. Whatever happens, he's going to take the skull of Siberius.
Skull Constantine.
Constantine.
Is it Constantine reborn? Does it emerge
How?
from the skull?
How? Maybe, yeah, maybe it is.
I have returned.
Maybe his soul longs to be set free.
Do we?
Yeah, I mean the thing is, when the game says when we run out, when we don't have a skill to check, we suffer a terrible loss. Basically, we fail at whatever we're trying to do
Yeah.
and lose a resource.
Yeah.
So we don't have a way to respond to whatever happened.
No.
And if we're at our lowest, like this is a terrible time to be us.
Yes.
That is important.
Yes.
So I'm thinking we're in this dank prison cell, and
Well, we
all we
escaped.
have is
That's why we lose the diary. That's what allowed us to. No.
no,
Wait.
they took it.
And it just took it. Right. We're still in the prison cell.
And
right.
We're like sitting there wearing nothing but holding this skull is all we have.
Yeah.
And we're praying to it. We're begging it. Like, you could imagine from like in the movie, right? Outside of the hallway, you can hear like the decrepit voice, like saying old Latin prayers and whatnot.
Yep. Yeah.
It's all we have. It's all we have. We have suffered so much pain.
Yeah.
Here, they hurt us so much. They know so much more about what we are than we do.
Yep.
We are really just a lost child in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And our prayers are heard.
Oh my.
We don't know what the right sort of faith is, but something stirred.
Yeah.
Except when our son actually sees him. When
Mm.
his soul awakens in the eyes of the skull,
Yeah.
he sees not his parent. He sees a decrepit, monstrous thing.
Yeah.
Something that he would slay if he could.
What do they want from you? Well, they want to be set free. They
how have they survived death?
well, the necromancy, right?
Necromancy, yeah.
Necromancy is also a lot of problems. Yeah. No, let's see here. Right. So,
Oh, so strange game. No. It's definitely a continuation.
we
My dark cell currently talk, my only son, and ask the ancient prayers and incantations suffuse my prison. His immortal soul.
So that's what happens. Now,
No, how
reaction.
well we lose, right?
Yeah, we do.
I call to him, but he knows me not. What he sees is a shameful, broken thing.
All right, let's uncross out.
The light fades, and the skull crumbles in my broken. We're alone. We're truly alone.
So it doesn't say, it says a mortal character returns.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that he returns immortal. So we assume then that he's reborn somehow.
Yeah, somehow. Now, we don't know. We might die before we're finding out, but let's just leave it at that. Now, he is here. He knows, yeah, you know, he hates what we've become, basically, right? This is all true still, right? We should still leave this.
I suppose so. Here, I just want to add something that he's actually alive again.
Yeah.
He is.
We're both writing.
Yeah.
I was thinking dark spells have called him from eternity to here, or something like that.
From eternity, go with back to life.
So from the skull, we call the soul.
Mm-hmm.
There's a moment where we're like, he's gonna help us.
Yes.
We can escape, and then it's like, it recoils.
Yeah.
And it like no, like something goes wrong in the spell, and it like crumbles.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's out there, but we don't know. We just know that what he saw, like it was gross and filthy and old, decrepit and broken and rotting, and so now we ourselves can lay at the bottom of this cell, feeling, and finally perhaps realizing what we appear to be to others.
Yeah.
Right? We've been not very self-conscious.
He saw only just blasphemy. That's all he saw.
Yeah. We remember him. He remembers us. Maybe he had a long career. We don't even know. Because
he just screams in anguish and vanishes.
Yeah, we just lost it.
Rejects us.
Yeah. We are nothing. We are alone.
Well, this might now be the final roll here, depending on what happens.
Yeah, could be. Let's see it.
Let's see it. Oh no.
The same. We stay.
Oh no.
All right. Yeah, let's see. What peril do they pull down upon you? Create a new enemy character, mortal or immortal. Check a skill or lose a resource.
You're destroyed, I think.
Means people, whatever happens now, we do not make it out.
Nope.
This will be the final part of our journey. We have I mean, I feel like we have blasphemed.
Oh yeah.
Both our Vesuvia and now our Constant.
Our entire family, really.
None of our family have been allowed to rest.
No.
We have brought havoc and death wherever we have gone.
Yeah.
So they have returned. What peril do they pull down upon us? Make a new enemy character, mortal, immortal, or a revenant.
Revenant.
Right?
He finds a body somehow.
He's a creation of he wants to undo what has been done.
Yeah.
And just end this.
We hear like the soul shrieks as it flies away, and then we hear something stir further into the prison. Or maybe like a week later, who knows? But something stirs in the prison. Something is dragging itself closer. We hear like the heavy scrape of a hammer against the floor. The guard outside just cries out in alarm, and then he's silenced. The door opens, and in there stands the revenant of our son. He has a stake and a hammer in hand, and he's here to finish the job.
I know not how long the time passed, but I heard the scream of the guard, the breaking door. My son stands before me. A silhouette in the light, distant candle. I reach out, embrace him, and rejoice at his return. The end.
The the stake finds its mark.
It happened dynamically, but we sort of went back to using I as we became less the perp.
It's true.
I suppose with a stake, he returns. Our family, or rather, he reunites me with my he, because we don't remember Vesuvia.
True. For Vesuvia.
He brings an end to the misery.
To the misery. Well,
I mean, it's a bad time in here.
It's
overall, we've not had a lot of good times.
No.
Looking back, and now he's dead. We're dead.
We're
done.
dead. We're destroyed.
There's no more. Our character is gone. There was nothing he could lose as his son's soul, brought back from by his own verdant prayers of salvation, have brought him that salvation from his own existence and from this terrible place.
His prayers were answered, but not in the way he thought.
Yeah. Finally, his you know what? And somehow it turned into this gothic situation of being sort of pulled from his own immortal coil. Right?
Yeah.
This what needs to happen.
Oh my.
Yeah. Do you want to maybe we do a little bit of like a back view? Maybe discuss a little bit our experience here.
I think so. The episode
also not have this be really short, so people don't know that he's gonna die instantly.
The episode is certainly 13 minutes, so we can spend a little time.
As we said, right, the next prompt could be the last one. It turned out it was.
It was.
Scrolling through here, there's lots of gain a skill, do a thing, you know. We never made it out of the 20s.
We never made it out of the 20s. We just stomped around in there.
There's hundreds or something.
There are hundreds. It goes to like, it goes to 100 pretty much.
100. So there's so much that we have not. Nor did we make it to 1,000 years.
No. We
made it several decades, and we never were in a situation, or several centuries. We never were in a situation where we were in control. It was.
No, it was.
We had like a short time, but we were ousted as soon as we found any sort of sway or.
Yeah. As soon as we.
It's a world where it was dangerous to be what we are. And maybe if we discuss this as a world building exercise, it actually makes a lot of sense. Khalid was very scared of people finding out about us. We were being way too loud. And every time we did anything major, like tried to get political entrance, we were ousted pretty much instantly. And like banished out to an even more squalid existence.
Yeah, it really is
in Barcelona, in Portumagas, in the desert even.
yeah.
We've been hunted from every place we've ever found.
It certainly was a constant downward spiral.
Oh yeah.
I don't think anything went really well for us ever.
It did, but then we were banished.
Yeah.
The whole living in squalid decay
Mm.
sort of worked for a bit.
Mm.
And then we went to Tunisia, and I was sort of, okay, now we can sort of maybe things will turn around. No,
No.
we were
Oh.
captured as a as a as a spy using the name that we had chosen for its renown. That renown came at a price, as it turns out.
Yeah.
And really, rather, I would say, especially this last bit here, I really enjoyed this little. It makes sense to me.
Mm.
Now, the necromancy of the skull of Constantine came a little bit out of nowhere.
Mm.
Some of the prompts you have to work a little bit to sort of fit out.
Yeah.
But in the end here, am I satisfied with how he died? I think so. Poor Tiberius here. I mean, in the end, I think I see him as a victim
Yeah, he was,
to
as you say, he was never in control.
to Khalid, right? Who came, used him, got the book, and then left.
Yeah.
And then later he came back to like destroy the evidence, but he never like Khalid's story
Yeah.
here is one of him being hunted by these children of Cairo, right? And doing all sorts of whatever he does.
Yeah.
Clearly they're very well funded and sort of able to hunt him,
But yeah, no, so
we were but a footnote in his existence.
pretty much,
And then
yeah.
annoyingly turned up again, and then were sort of stomped out by his enemies.
Maybe maybe next character is Khalid we make. I don't know. See.
Well, then we'd sort of have a big backstory.
Yeah.
Or we start way earlier and probably never make it to where he is.
True, it's true.
But yeah. So overall, what do you think overall of the game?
I like it. It is evocative. I like most of the prompts. It certainly takes you places and throws you from like you have a fairly like you have a story in your head. You're like, okay, so this is probably gonna happen in here. We're gonna try to do this, and then the thing just suddenly throws you a complete curveball, and it's like, no, you get hunted, you ousted out, or 100 year passes, and everyone you knew is dead. That can be a strength. It can be an annoyance, because in some regards you might not feel like you're done with an area or a story, and want to explore it further, but the prompts might force you out of it. Then again, that's life, in a way. Like that can certainly be the existence of yourself, right? You have a lot of things that you would like to do or have dreamed of, but you never got around to it for different reasons. So this might be the reflection of how the world works in a way. I feel it is difficult to not difficult, but it's a bit tricky to because my knowledge of vampire world and vampire society is generally drawn from Vampire the Masquerade. That's like the setting I'm most familiar with. So I assume that things like werewolves and magic exists. I don't know if magic, like, did we take too much of a liberty to introduce necromancy, for example?
No, the game suggests with immortal characters that they can be ghosts or angels, whatever they can be. The game, I think, is pretty open with us, like how we do it. The point is that you are as a immortal being, you're a lonely sort of creature, right?
Yeah.
You don't have a big network of friends and family and such who stick around.
Yeah.
Because there's few of you. And that certainly is true. I mean, looking at our characters, I expected us to have more people we met. A long time of our game, we sort of didn't have anyone.
Yeah.
As for the game overall, I like it. I like how we did it together, like using this document. I think it's very.
Yeah.
It's been easy enough to oversee. I'd say I think I'm surprised in how coherent the story has been.
Yeah.
Like every step makes sense because of course we are the ones who sort of made it make sense. So if it didn't, then we wouldn't have done it that way.
Yeah.
So of course, but I expected usually when you have like story generation prompts based on randomness,
Yeah.
you get some things that are like it doesn't work, right?
Mhm.
It has some sort of strange component.
Yeah.
But these ones are vague enough, and I think the subject matter is narrow enough that they can sort of make sure that they work. We had we had to stretch a little bit or twist a little bit to sort of fit in.
Yeah.
But that's just the nature of something like this, where there's not a person on the other side delivering them to us in a
Mm.
sensible way.
Yeah, I think
I'll say I'm curious to see what else this game has.
oh, for
Like,
sure.
what is in these other, like, however many prompts we
Can
did?
we make it out
We
of the
could do
20s?
several other games without ever having a repeat if you just sort of happen
Yes.
to roll that, right? Um, and um, and that I find interesting. There's a lot here to be had.
I think I think the game is very interesting and it warrants more playthroughs than one probably because as you said we never got out of like early 20s really. We're up and sniffing a little bit on the high 20s at the end there. But I would really like to see what's out there like further along the path here.
What could be further?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
There's a temptation to read, of course, the prompt. I think we pretty well avoided doing
Oh
any of
yes,
that.
I have I've willfully
To
only
not
read
make
the
sure that there's nothing.
yeah I've only ever read the prompt like that we were supposed to read unless I just had a brain lapse and a mistake. I have never read ahead because
Yeah.
I feel like that would spoil it.
Yeah, I mean, it would ruin the game somewhat to know what you could find. I mean, we've seen people now be brought back. And I
Yes.
think as you continue, I would imagine and expect the mechanics to become more uh, like bigger swings,
Mm-hmm.
right? The beginning here, I think, is meant to establish us and give us some early conflicts. I
Yes.
don't think we've seen what sort of things. I imagine late game, you would probably have a lot of things that just kills you because you've gotten far enough, right? The game doesn't have any more like, at some point, when you get to rolling above
Yeah.
the maximum number of prompts, then I don't know what happens then, but
I don't
maybe
know.
maybe that's that.
There is an appendix of extra prompts. I know,
Oh, yeah, well,
in case you need them. But yeah, I
yeah,
don't know what happens if you go up to 99. You know, maybe you go back to 1.
maybe.
Come all the way
You're
around.
born again.
Yes. 100 year
Um,
passes.
yeah.
Yes.
Uh, yeah. I find the skills seem like a well thought out enough system. Like there's flexibility, the resources work well enough. It certainly is an undertaking. So it's not
Yes.
something you just sort of sit down with it or relax. You've got to write down a lot of stuff.
And go write down lots of you need to be in a headspace where you are inspired enough. Being two helps because you know if I'm feeling a bit slow, maybe you drag me along and the other way around.
Yeah.
I do like the also the idea of like an historical setting in that sense because you know you check things right. You're like okay, let's find what was the big happening in Spain in the 700s. It's like oh, it was, and then you learn a little bit as you play. Now, for example, I know about Roman villas in Gallia.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean it's also part of the journaling game experience, right? Using a setting that's of course very rich because it's real. There's a
Yeah.
lot of it. So
Yeah, I think the biggest curveball of the entire, like the most monumental roles we did. Certainly the second role with 100 years passed.
uh,
That was just a
that was a massive.
massive ass thing.
I think we established ourselves a couple times.
Yeah.
We established ourselves back in Rodomargus, and then we were ousted
Yeah.
and thrown away. Then we established ourselves in Barcelona. It was fine. Things were happening, and we got ousted again.
Yes.
I think that second ousting so soon after the first one really just drove us to like it drove into the wasteland.
Yeah.
I feel that was a major change.
Mm.
Living in this decrepit, like we were like a necromancer. We were sort of Giovanniing us around
Mhm.
doing creepy stuff, using
Yeah.
the plague, and we were turning into a real bad guy. And then we got just thrown into the dirt.
Hunted out again.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then we stayed there for so long.
Yes.
without really moving. Like half our game was in it's a decrepit desert, and that I think that was one of the monumental things. It really pushed us in that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, here at the end, getting captured again and
Yeah.
ousted, double ousted, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, we were driven out of Rodomagus. We were driven out of Barcelona. Driven out of not driven out of the wasteland. We left the wasteland willingly, go into the city, but then we drove out of the city. Went to Tunisia and then just immediately captured again by like these
Yeah, but
goddamn.
recently we have rolled a lot of the same rolls again and again and
Yeah.
again. I can see here on our backlist here a lot of 17s and 14, and like we got a lot of these multiple times, right? As a thing. Now, statistically, we should increase every time, but we got 28 twice. Bring a dead son back, and then
having us.
have him call down a terrible peril upon us.
Yeah.
Which, in a way, I mean, honestly, for the story, and of course, I would like to continue, right? See where this would go. But honestly, for a story, I think it's a satisfying end. It's
I think it's fine. He
yeah,
was in.
it's time.
I don't know
lay
how.
down,
I
Tiberius. You
don't
need
know
to.
how we would have clawed Tiberius out of this hole. Every step.
It really shows that he was no longer Tiberius. He was becoming Ghanid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The traveling Islamic scholar. Who now went back to get a book that he forgot or that he used to have, or he himself to read time travel stuff. But it was time. Like he was a victim. He'd been running his whole existence and just trying to claw it, and he was vengeful and sort of a jerk at the beginning. But it's like you see, it's very Gollum-esque, right? You see that thing, and you're like, just you feel bad for it in a way. It needs to, and the son comes back and puts him down. And it's like, okay. He blasphemed and betrayed everything he ever cared about. He let rats eat his book collection, right? His prized book collection. The bones of his beloved wife was eaten by wild dogs.
By street dogs in Barcelona.
His son, he found him, and what did he do? He tore his soul from heaven and brought it to the mortal world again to dwell in an ancient skull. Like these things are exactly what he as a mortal would have not wanted.
Yeah.
Right. But somehow through the story, they became the logical next step of what the story took us, and that is not what we expected. Not what I expected.
Oh no, I did not expect to end up being murdered by my own resurrected ghost son in a prison in Tunisia. That will. I will this go. So the question is, if we were to do this again, what other setting should we start in? Might be worth having a little think about.
I mean, certainly something ancient, at least 1,000 years ago.
I'm thinking.
So you can live up to that 1,000-year-old vampire.
I'm thinking High Middle Ages for a start next time. Maybe
that could be.
Like the
a little bit later than this guy here. I was thinking, we play as Theodoric, my child.
It could be, generational,
single character there. He has a skill of necromancy. We know he has some resources, probably. I don't know. Thing is, you should make him as immortal, right? We did, so
true.
That doesn't really work.
Yeah, no, it could something like you could go to England, for example. I mean, around
Norman sort of.
A lot of
invasion.
A lot of interesting invasions and whatnot happening there. Could be
France again.
Could be a Viking.
Out of the manor, unknowingly. Vikings in the early Middle Ages, though, right?
They sort of die out around 800s, I guess. When it's basically when Denmark gets christened, then it sort of stops the Viking stuff a lot of the time.
Yeah, it became hard.
Yeah.
Which is post Charlemagne, because it was suddenly very intimidating. There was a lot of, Franks ruling over Saxony.
Oh yeah.
Whole thing. Yeah, we could do something like that. Certainly. And be a very different character, not a rogue, but a proud something else, or maybe a peasant or something.
Maybe a peasant.
Well, there's infinite possibility, really. A lot of people used to exist, have existed for
As,
a long time.
as it turns out, a lot of people have existed. It's true.
Lots of different ways to live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we will have a
It
think.
could also be a fighting character,
Yeah.
That would change things a bit.
Yeah.
We've had a smart character and a decrepit, sort of filth-ridden character.
A noble knight, perhaps.
Yeah, perhaps. We could all go.
Heirs to the knightly, chivalric vows of Charlemagne and his,
Yeah.
legend
A
of Tristan.
paladin.
Yeah, paladin, legend of Tristan and Isolde, like that. This type of sword of Roland, like all this stuff.
Start during that era.
Hmm.
Maybe even with a noble quest to bring the legendary sword to someone, but we never make it because we get embraced on the way.
Waylaid by enemies.
That puts up some sort of scene, but yeah, Tiberius.
Tiberius, you did your best.
I think that's the thing. Yeah, you were not good. You did your best. You were, but in the end, may whatever gods exist, judge you mercifully, knowing that you were not a man. That it was Khalid who put you in this place you should never have been. You could have hated Spurious. You could have lived on your wine farm with your money and your family, and been a little snobbish and terrible, but you know. And yet, maybe his life did create something good, right? Maybe the Tuar family, the Tuars,
Yeah, they live on.
maybe they will return, and maybe they will. Maybe if we don't meet these same people, maybe the setting exists still, and
Maybe they become very prominent Spanish winemakers because wine from Spain is certainly a big thing.
maybe the vampire hunters that he sort of created really will someday do more good than he did harm. That's certainly like a band-aid, but yeah.
Oh,
really dropped right in. Our first skill we gained was necromancy, then hunter, vermin. That was a descent.
I'm a bit sad we got rid of Spurious in the beginning. I thought
we had to get rid of something.
I know.
And look at how our son came back and paid dividends of keeping that memory.
Look how that came back to pay dividends, for sure.
That could have been Spurious' skull. That came and killed us. Yeah, we forgot him pretty quick. In the end, I guess he didn't really matter. It was not one of the seminal people in our life. That was certainly our wife and son. And I think through his unlife, those two people were deeply important still. They may have died, but they mattered in a huge way.
They did. And surprise. Yeah, somewhat poetic that the son that he found again, was the one who actually put him down.
He saw part of what he remembered, in his decrepit state, and went to Spain. And then in the end, he was found. And even Theodoric there, our child, seems to pity us.
Yeah.
He went out, he did his own thing and became successful at it, and returned and was like, here, old father, have this.
Yes.
But now I will leave you and go, because now I know. Now I have paid back the life that you. He went to a great deal of trouble.
He did
to acquire this, so that he could rid himself of this debt. Put us in his diary, basically. Get on with his own life. Maybe him and Khalid will at some point meet up and talk about it. But
remember that crazy old man? Oh yeah.
Khalid saying, "What? I don't really know.
Never
mattered. I traded him. I bought a book from him once, hundreds of years ago. That doesn't even register on my
Yeah,
list of
like I don't even.
things. Ooh, you know. Yeah, how important was Khalid to your mind? I was an ancient alchemist. Maybe he made vampire. Maybe he's the progenitor,
Oh,
still
really?
around, trying to perfect a formula that never worked.
Certainly giving me a very grand, grand destiny for sure.
I mean, he could be the childer of the same, right? But if he does the same purpose and sort of, 'cause I like the idea that it's alchemical in nature, right? Someone made a formula and it gets close enough for eternal life, but you have these terrible marks like
Yeah,
all food rots around you and such.
yeah,
You just perfect, make that not happen.
yeah.
Then it might be great. Just living but forever.
I I
I
think we put our own spin to it. I think we played the way it was intended to play.
don't think so.
Answer the prompts in a way that feel natural. They combined to tell stories. They certainly did. And cede control to the game. Yeah, we certainly did.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I mean, here's the thing, right? It's like playing some strategy games or something in multiplayer. In some way, the fact that you share the experience with someone makes it more real in a way and more whole.
Yeah.
And certainly, if you play alone and you're like, "Oh, I died," maybe you have a temptation
Mm-hmm.
to look. We could have lived, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I haven't played this solo, so I don't know if I would feel that tension. But if nothing else, playing with someone else ensures that
Makes it, yeah, I agree. Makes it official in a way, like more,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, folks, I think that's it.
I think that's it. I think
Yep.
that's the story of Tiberius. I hope you enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
And you could, of course, go and make this up. Simply Google "1,000-Year-Old Vampire." You'll find out a place where you could buy a PDF copy,
Yeah.
like we've been using, or you could buy the physical book
Yep.
just the same.
You can also snag a community copy of the PDF. There are a couple of those still around for free. No questions asked. Look below and I'll link to it. And yeah, check it out. This is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And we will catch you, well, next time.
Bye.
Bye bye.